Good morning. This is Dr. Bill White again with the American Orthodontic Society, and I want to talk to you a little bit on this video about we extracted 4 first buys and 4 first molars on this young man, and he had the largest central and lateral teeth I think I've ever seen, and I'm going to show you the results after several years after he matured, and he is definitely not dished in. So anyway, we pulled his second molars and his wisdom teeth up, and his wisdom teeth came in kind of tilted, and we went back and straightened them out for him later on. So here we go. This is the young man. He was just a friendly kid, and we enjoyed working on him, and he was full of mischief and everything. And see how he closed his eyes, but look at the size of his central teeth. One of them turned sideways, and he's missing he has one of his deciduous cuspids out, and they kind of shifted to one side or the other. And look at him, he's just full of mischief, and we enjoyed working on him. And I saw him for years there as he grew up, and he's a neat kid, and he's pretty full right in here. And then I'll show you on the x-rays where we decided to extract teeth on him, and we took the bicuspids out, and it still did not supply the space that we needed, and I didn't want to take all the bicuspids out, so I took the 6-year molars that he had wisdom teeth when I did that. At this time, you don't see the wisdom teeth forming back there, but when we got around to it, they were there definitely. So here we're going to take these bicuspids out, or had them taken out by somebody in the office, other dentists and things like these. This permanent cuspid's coming right down on top of that lateral, and these big centrals and big lateral teeth are in here. I didn't find out how he inherited this. I didn't get to see his father. I don't know, his father must have had some huge teeth, or else his mother did, one or the other, maybe both of them. But anyway, we took the first buys out, and I thought that would give us enough room to get this in, and we are getting the cuspid. You see, it's got room in here to come in, and here's the bicuspid back here where we've taken the first buy out, so we've got room enough to get this in, looks like, and down here too. And we probably could have kept the 6-year molars, but we definitely would have had to extract a wisdom teeth if we did, and it still didn't give us the space that I felt to keep the face looking good. So anyway, here we go, and here's another Panrex number 3, taken in 1980, and the cuspids on the bottom are coming in pretty good. If you got them in here, you would have to do one of these reductions of these second deciduous molars right here. I forget exactly how we got them in. I think we decided, since the wisdom teeth are forming back here, we decided we probably would take out the 6-year molars, and that's not too accepted by a lot of dentists. So anyway, you have to be a little careful coming in there. Now this lateral up above was crooked, And let me back up this one picture here, and you can see that crooked lateral right here, and it comes on down in, and we just had to deal with it because the root is formed at that point. Now here it is in place, so you want to put the crown where it looks good, and even though the root may be coming over here too close to the central, that's something to point out in here. Now at this point we could see the wisdom teeth pretty good. See, we knew he had them, and so at this point we decided we would take the 6-year molars, and then we drifted this forward quite a bit and took up part of this space, and then brought this back and took up the other part of the space. And then after we had finished, his wisdom teeth came in and they were both tilted, so we straightened them up, which is very easy to do. Years after you finish the orthodontics, you'll have to put braces, just bond the wire on the side of the teeth, and you can upright the wisdom teeth years after you finish a case. That's another little trick that you might find interesting in there. So anyway, here we go to number 5. Now we took these 6-year molars out, and that gave us all kind of room back here to bring the bicuspids in. And you'd think that you would dish this face in, but I'll tell you, people would look at him years later and not know that he did not have his 6-year molars. I mean, they're gone. And then we'll bring the wisdom teeth in that space. Bring them forward. The second molars erupted quite a ways forward in here. You see the upper one almost is in place, and it may be a little crowded right here where this one is moved forward so much. Here we got a little more movement to bring the second molars forward, but we're going to use all the space we need here and then bring the second molars up and take up the rest of the space. This may sound way out to some people, and I'm sure some folks will not really like that too much, and that's all right. There's a lot of ways doing this thing. Now see this crown right here, we tried to keep it straight and bring the root over here so that the crown of that lateral looks pretty normal, even though the tooth is crooked like this. We straighten this part out and let the root be off to the side. That's something we talked about just a minute ago. Now we've got a good bit of space down here to close up, which is not a big problem at all. And so here we're pretty much there, and we use that, you go in and have this deal like that, and you put that in here, and you pull on this, and as you pull that forward, it moves, puts this force like is on that root, and it'll bring the root forward in this manner. And so you can watch, you see that little spring in the wire right there, and this would be going down here, and so this activation brings the root of that tooth forward. If you haven't learned that trick, that's a very important thing to learn. Now that's Panrex number, it looks like I've got an 8 on it, but here you see the roots are pretty close. It's not all the way yet. I'd like this tooth to be sitting flat, and this one's not all the way either, but everything's going here. Now I really need to put some tip in this tooth, this first bite here, and get this root back. I hope I did that, but I may not have. All right, well, we did pretty good. See, we've got it back pretty well here. This is number 11, my God. All right, we see the wisdom teeth have come in at this time, and we're through with his braces. This is 1985, and we started in 80, so he was out without any braces when these came in. And all this is not brackets on here. We just lay a wire up here and put a little dab of composite on the teeth, or just bond that wire to the teeth and put this little spring that actually you can't insert it in there with that much activation. So you stick a double optical plier in there, and you have this cupped part here and the little bar down here, and you mash it, and it'll bend that wire down like this, and that puts more activation. So it's no problem to take a wisdom tooth coming in, and I mean several years after you finish, you can upright them very easily. Really, just bond a wire on about 3 teeth and make this little wire that would, like this wire right here, would be something like this, and you go down and then come off here, but you want this to be something activated about that much. Insert it in there, and of course this is going down. You can activate it more later on by taking a double optical plier and putting a little bar down here. You mash that, and it'll bend it like that. See, so learn how to do that. You can straighten up a lot of wisdom teeth and a lot of second molars and first molars, or anything you've got. I've never seen a tooth that we could not straighten up. You can take it from straight down like that and straighten the tooth up. So don't let that be something that's going to influence you to extract that tooth or anything like that. You can straighten this up 10, 15 years after, or you don't even have to. You just take anybody, come in the office with one down like that. You don't have to put braces on them. If you want to, you can straighten that tooth up. And I wouldn't care if that tooth was laying down like this. And as long as you can get the part of it on the side, you can straighten that tooth up like that. I've never run into one you couldn't do that to. So you need to learn that if you possibly can. That is a real helpful thing in your diagnosis, like you're bringing teeth together. Like if you have a red 6-year molar, you can take the second molar and the wisdom tooth and bring them up and put them in position on anybody. I mean, they can be 40 years old and you can do that. So learn how to do that. Anyway, let's get on with this. We had to straighten his wisdom teeth out. I thought they would come in properly, but they didn't. The upper ones did. And so here we've got one of them is up and the other one is still down there, but we got that thing up, and it was in the 90s when I finished doing that. Now, here are the models showing you. This is actually the broadest. Doggone, now this was turned sideways, but it's just as broad as that one is. And this guy was a neat kid, and I worked on him for several years, and got him back. And one time I went to Dallas to a drug seminar, and he was the representative of the drug company at the seminar. And we had a real good get together there at that meeting. He was a neat kid, and he was a neat person. Anyway, we'll show this. Now, we straightened all that out, but we took a lot of teeth out, and some people would just think that's bad to do that. And maybe there'll be other ways you can do it. You don't have to do it that way. Here we use the step-down arch, in between the teeth. You can expand or contract the space and bring the roots with the crown with a step-up or step-down arch wire like that. Different little tricks you learn in here. Now, we're opening this space for this lateral tooth on the bottom, and we line all this up. And now I'm taking up 15 minutes here, and so I'm going to run through this pretty quick. Now, he had the cuspid over here was in, and this one hadn't gotten in, so the things have shifted over to this, to the, I guess that would be his left, and we'll have to kind of shift them back in the other direction. Down on the bottom, they're crowded up here. Now we've taken those 6-year molars out, and we'll line all that up. And here now we've got this cuspid in, you see, but this thing is kind of skewed off to the side. So we'll be bringing this back in this direction over here, and kind of moving it to the other side to center the thing up. This tooth right here, see, is rotated. It spins on the lingual arch, so when you rotate it, it'll come back, and it'll be back more like the one on the other side of the mouth. 6-year molars, or since there aren't any 6-year molars here, the second molar's 3-rooted too, and then you spin one around, it kind of spins off of the lingual root, and it'll back up a lot of the way doing that. So the laterals are in there, and we've got him centered up now pretty good, and you can see the midline down through the other teeth, so we shifted back over in that direction. And here we're coming along pretty good. I've got several pictures of this. Now, it's pretty well lined. It's still not lined up in that view. On the bottom now, these are second molars. See, that have come, we've moved them forward, got them in place. And here we finish him up here in 84. We're taking him out of the braces, and he's still got some on the lower anterior teeth. And we had him lined up good, and we put, you see the center of this going right up through here, and so this is shifted back. That's not as good as it could be. There's a lot of my stuff in as good as it could be. But we were able to come out with it in pretty good shape. And the lower, he's not brushing too good, and he ended up being not a real good retainer wearer. Here he is in 92, I believe, and I got him back, and he wasn't wearing his retainer good. But here is somebody that's had 6-year molars extracted, and the first bias extracted. And if this is not dished in at all, he doesn't have a real long jaw, but these teeth are full enough. I mean, his profile's full enough. He's a good-looking guy, has a wonderful personality. I guess that's why the drug company hired him. And you can look at here. I mean, this is not closed down. It's not dished in any way. And He's a nice looking young man. And you dress him up and put a suit and tie and everything, and he made a good representative for this drug company at this meeting. And that's him, but he didn't wear his retainer good enough, and his upper teeth kind of relapsed to some extent. Here's this wisdom tooth coming in back here. We just took electrosurgeon, took that off, put a tube on it, bonded a wire here, and put this wire up and put it on that, and it picked that thing up. And so we left him, but I don't have any pictures back that far where we got that in. But you see, this has gotten too narrow in here. He just wasn't wearing this retainer, so we had him go back and kind of force wear it, and it'll kind of round this thing off again. He just would have to wear it and make himself wear it. So down on the bottom it's crowded a little, simply because he wasn't doing that. But here's these wisdom teeth we got. One of them finally came in, I think. This one over here, we had to come back and do that after 92. And we can straighten that thing up with no problem at all. Hope you learned something from this. Now, we've spent a little over 20 minutes here, but you just don't learn orthodontics automatically, and you don't learn it overnight. And nobody ever learns it from a weekend course either. But if you keep studying it and keep working on it, you can do it. And so this will give you some idea of what you might do. And people would say this is absolutely ridiculous, extracting 6-year molars in there and bringing wisdom teeth in. But I knew the wisdom teeth were there, and I knew I could straighten them up. It didn't matter if it's 10 years after we got through with it. So hope you get some idea of what you can do orthodontically. And I'd like for you to subscribe to our video program. We'd like to help anybody around the world in doing this stuff. So I'm going to hush and say goodbye for the present, and I hope this will help you in some way. So we'll talk with you later. Bye-bye.